Hey everyone, this is Malgazer returning with another installment to the Final Fantasy XIV story playthrough. Last we played, we finished the Stormblood bridge quests up to Shadowbringers, and now we are ready to actually begin Shadowbringers. Quite a lot of things happened. If you're interested, go and check out the last episode, and we'll go ahead and get started right off the bat. Dang, okay, let's do this. Good news, Malgazer. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently, our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Then we better go give him a hand. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. Ooh, new quest accepted music, and probably going to be new quest completion music as well. They always change it per expansion. Kind of nice. It was pretty metal. Wonder if most of the music is going to be the same. If that's a precursor to how this is going to go. I don't mind. I like metal, so it works out. Dang, took so long. All the way over by St. Quinax. Hey, Megared Stormer. What a cool dungeon. Keeper of the Lake. Heading to the survey site, sir. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Cool. Everyone's here.
Look how many people there are. Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour. Change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called it the chief of some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Sid's somewhere else, of course.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
What if it's something you can't see? What if it's something I can see?
not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine.
And she'll find it.
Mist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Did I find it? Like immediately?
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
So ominous.
Journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
Oh, do not look at me so.
You're slaves to a tyrant. There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
With. Oh, it's like Minfilia. Maybe not. Maybe.
Your time has not yet come.
My time? What are you talking about?
dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Is that same dude?
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
He just looks pretty similar to the other guy at the very beginning of level 1. What do you mean this time of night? Yeah.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, yet he'd reply.
No, that's right. This star is going to be consumed by light, so there's too much of it. Interesting.
100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it.
Not from around these parts.
Ah, got to you, did they? Beggar. That explains it then.
No, thank you. I gotta keep my wits about me.
Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. It's the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
I like how he just glowers. Interesting.
Dizzying heights it rises, the gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light, the pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
Awesome. Let's do this. Any flight points around here? Oh. Can't even use my mount. Run. As for sprinting. Might as well turn that on. Well, this world has their own crystal tower. I wonder if they all do. Thing is, it was built by the Allagans in our world. I wonder who built it here.
Halt.
Viera.
Every face in this city I know. Yours I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
What an interesting accent.
From where do you hail?
The source.
The source? What is this cryptic nonsense? Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin. But instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass.
Oh, she's a dancer, too.
That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand. Ring and all.
Did it kill that merchant? Oh, he had that big old ring on. Yep. Digested him fast, as it took me forever to get here.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort him to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
You're just doing your job.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private.
I have lots. Where is everyone? Why did you summon me? How do I get back?
Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons.
Crystal Exarch. Is that his name? I doubt it.
I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As for before, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Are the other scions here?
That is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you.
Why not now?
Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes.
What about the Warriors of Darkness when they came back?
It meant depriving me of its champion. I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
I get to move. Maybe. Or is it going to another cinematic? Oop, cinematic. Nice. Get into it. More exposition, please. I just now see it. Ridiculous.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Morvrent. Is that the name of the planet, or is that the name of the continent? I don't know yet. I have some exploring to do after I talk to the Crystal Exarch. And here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. Straight up giving you 385 gear. All right. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I'd like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. Excuse me. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should, in theory, be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. And you can teleport back at any time. Okay. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. Yeah, what would happen if I teleported back now? Without... Huh. After you've done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head to the left to arrive in the Crystalline Mean. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as our spokeswoman Catlas, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morin. To reach him and his cabinet of curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps, take the exit on the left, and simply continue straight along and down until you come to large doors at the end of the path. There's going to be a third. The third and final person I would like you to meet is Bragi, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He's to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out my colleagues, you'll visit the major districts of the city and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Tell me again. Crystal clear. Yeah, I don't want him to explain it again. Waste time. Crystal clear. Okay. Ah, very good. I can see the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There is an unspoken rule here that peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you finish making the rounds, pray meet me at the large courtyard of the center of town. Until then. Alright. Let's start with the main one. To allow me to teleport to Aetherites in the source, so I can go back anytime. Okay. Let's run around and get all these little guys. And then we'll go talk to people. I saw this one from far away. That was a pretty cool Aetherite, but this one's cool too. I like how they look different. There's one down here, so I might as well... Yeah, I'll get it while I'm there. And there's a porter, so definitely talk to them too. Trivium. Ooh. Talk to this guy while I'm here. Upstairs. Go up again. It looked like the arrow went away, so maybe I'm not high enough. Ah, there they are. Excuse me, sir. I recently come to the city perchance. I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and, well, ahem. Well, what I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll even, a scrap of scribbled on parchment. really. My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to the recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh, so you have an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I can think of an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment, and I'll fetch it for you. You can read a kid's book. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair, make yourself more comfortable? Ahem, on with the lesson then. A 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pulled and swelled without cease until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We call this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her flower did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrent, and Norvrent alone spared the fate of erasure. So it sounds like it's a continent. Or country. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the light from Norvrent's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. Can you starve them out? That's a kid's book, by the way. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I'd be glad to retell it for you. Or if you'd rather speak at other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Has taught you about the Flood of Light. Yeah. Okay, well, let's head back up to, I guess, the Aetheryte. And then we'll go up the stairs this time. Probably leads to this Aetheryte. Yep, crystalline mead. And I'll hit that. Get all in the same area, I guess. Door open? Nope. Okay. Makes me wish I had a range physical DPS on my pan just for Peloton. Cactus. Tetanus Evergreen. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm gonna guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Saint Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized, too. Thanks to us in the mean, we work together to procure materials and resources and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Just don't go thinking it'll all be handed to you on a plate like those Elmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, you work for a living. Oh, I see you're no stranger to honest labor. You don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? I should say the source anyway. Oh, no option. One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looked exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his sorcery, or secrecy, sorry, he has never let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I wonder if we are actually from... I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you ought to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catless, and I'll find you a niche here in the crystalline mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Tell you about life in the Crystarium. Yeah, he said to tell people that we're from the same place. And I'm like, I wonder if that's actually true. Alright, so let's go up this, see if I can get to the other one up there. Yeah, buddy. Actually, let's go for the Chocobo Porter first. Yep. Apparently these are called Amaros. That's cool. All right. Now back to the Aetheryte Plaza. I'm just gonna head this way real quick. I'm gonna grab this one. Probably get that via the story anyway, but whatever. And then I'll head down and grab those two. Alright, so head south. I'm gonna grab this first, and then I'll talk to him. And then we'll go get... Maybe I should go grab that one real quick. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And then I'll go talk to him. Right over there. Yep, there it is. I can see it from here. I have access to all of them. Lakeland is now accessible. It's probably the outside. Yep. Come on. Right click on you. Look, I think this is the other playable race that was released with Stormbringers. Or Stormbringers, Shadowbringers. Storm's word. Shadowblood. New to the city, friend? The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome, my name is Braggy, and I'm the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for Galgant such as yourself, so finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. Galgant? Did you say Galgant? Aye, something wrong? Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us? The shorter one is a Hume. The taller one is an elf. The other fellow over there is a Galgant, you see, whilst the one with the horns is a Drawn. They have different names for everything. Elf makes more sense. And then you have this large scaly chaps with long tails and an knack for raising livestock. Those would be the Zune. But is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. I'm from where the Exarch's from. Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they've floundered over the simplest things. Over the years? But not to worry, should you find yourself confused by local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Alright, so it means that I am good to meet him at the Docile Gate. Isn't my sprout thing supposed to go away by now? Or do I have to do it manually? Let me check. Hang on. One moment. When does the sprout icon go away? Let's see if it's true. It says when I finish the first quest here. Let's see. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of this world and its people? Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted the details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the self-same one you know from the source, transported to the first in its entirety. It was my first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing. And although I did not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. An actual good chunk of experience. Was that the only piece it gave me was a chess piece? Oh, I think it was. Okay. No big deal. Piece by piece, okay. And the thing didn't fall off, so I'll deal with it later. You've done as I requested and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain and explain what has befallen your comrades. That is a conversation I'd rather have in the privacy of my quarters, however. I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I have to see that the guard knows to admit you. Just like that, then Gratia is... that. I wonder if he's Gratia. I'm not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? Yeah, he sealed himself in the Crystal Tower. An extraordinary tale, but I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best we focus on the present. And that'll never get old. This looks like the room he brought me into the first time I saw him, in my dream or whatever it was. Or at least the floor does.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions.
Mm-hmm.
To put it simply, they are here in the first. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the first, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted.
So I could have been gone from there from years now?
We seem to be entering a phase of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
How convenient.
As for your companions, however, Y'shtola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5.
That's where the guy said it's been years.
Recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the first for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are in truth merely spirits that one can see and touch.
Yeah, their bodies are back on, yeah.
You yourself are able to pass between worlds with relative freedom. They will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
What happens if their bodies die? Then find a way to send them back.
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future, that which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events.
Yeah, I don't know you.
And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips.
Yeah, where are they?
I shall of course be happy to assist you in your means, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home.
No sleep for you. Been 5 years.
What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
No. Not really. I bet I'll see you keep that promise.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
I already did the tour. Unless you're going to tell me what this thing on the floor is. Apparently not. Costarian boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that a room has just become available at the Pendants, which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along. Are you going to fully gear me before sending me out? If that's the case, that's quite a bit of quests to get done in the meantime.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here.
Does my guild work here?
Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The guild you carry will serve you well enough.
Immediate answer.
Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Tombstones? It's a phone.
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your home world. Avan Kerm Sin?
Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
It's Navi.
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails?
So far, yeah, I haven't really counted my teeth.
Just as I thought. Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass.
Including my mounts?
From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Sne Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other.
Like how it automatically translates in the subtitles. I just did, to say hi. Attune to me. Yep.
Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap her message to your friends in the source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Send a message to Totaro, because she'll spread it out, no problem.
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystallia. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
Are you going to take me there? Or do I have to get there myself? You know, I have access to delivery moogles, market boards, and summoning bells while on the first. Nice, so I can use my summons or my my mounts when I'm outside, maybe even inside. We'll see. It's a major town, probably not. There you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. You'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay. Make use of it as you see fit. When you're ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray and rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene in the ocular anon. I believe that covers all but practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, Malkazir. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but my peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. Welcome to your new home, the Dependence. Your was ready. You care to retire? Yes, I guess, because I'm being forced to. I even have food. You're pretty nice.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
And who are you? Ha! The warrior of darkness.
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The warrior of darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source. We tried to hasten God's damned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia. How she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the first. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrand. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
100 years.
100 years. 100 long years. My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear.
But I can hear you.
I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that?
Explain, explain. Explain, explain, explain.
You were summoned to save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it.
But I am here.
Muddle Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's-forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Why don't you just stick around? Maybe you can help me out. Sleeping in my armor. Perfect. I'm always ready for battle. Head back to the Crystarium. Circus Tower. Crystarium's a town. It's called the Docile Gate, right? Yep. Phew. I run crooked upstairs because that's safe.
How did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest?
Tell him about Ardbert. I had a ghostly visitor.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts.
Here is the map.
This map shows the lands of Northrend, the only area to be spared the flood of light. The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Ilmeg. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness.
Of course, that's where Alphino is.
Following our calls, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armorang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin-Eaters.
And why do they live there?
In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe.
Makes sense for her, but why does everyone else still over there? Dang.
So, will it be Calicia or Armorang? It matters not which you choose to visit first.
Oh, I have the option?
Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount. Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of sin-eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
I'm going to do a quick Google and see if there's really a difference between... If it doesn't matter. Yeah, well, I guess we'll go Alphino first. Actually, real quick. Let's go for Alphino. You'll visit Alphino and Calusia then? Excellent. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast, so you'll need a mount capable of making the journey. Here's a letter of introduction. Present it to Zem Genmai, the master of beasts at Temenos Rookery, and he'll take care of you. When you see Alphino, be sure to pass on my warmest regards. I can grab both, but I'll do Alphino's first. I'll just grab both. We're to depart for... whatever. Can I cancel that? Stupid. I can't abandon it. Oh well. I can read this. It summarizes what he just said. In order to facilitate your reunion with Alzay and hopefully soothe any lingering anger from her Ail's time of summoning, the Exarch offers to arrange transportation of the journey to Amarang. He hands you a letter of introduction and sends you to Amaro Launch to find a man named Cassard. Oh, we're gonna go Alphino first. What is this? Sights of the first. Am I already unlocking things? Was that the sightseeing log? Yeah, it does. Okay, I'll just unlock that real quick. Except that it's above me. Never mind. Don't care enough to really worry about that. Your face is unknown to me. What business have you with my rookery? Signed by the Exarch, no less. Yes, I can provide you with an Amaro from Passage to Calusia. I'll pick you out a friendly whelp. An Amaro, you say? That's right. Mounts like my gray friend over there are a common sight in these parts. But I gather you hail from further afield. Or accustomed to chocobos, perchance? I hear there are a few places where they ride little else. Seeing as you are plainly accustomed to riding Amaro, I think it best I accompany you on this flight myself. Any Zune worthy of the name would do it, of course, but the Exarch sent you to me. Ensuring you will arrive safely is my responsibility. Gather your things, meet me at the Amaro launch. One of the junior tamers will attend to you while I ready the mounts. How much does it cost to teleport back? 1,000, no matter where I go. You want to fly an Amaro to Kalusia? Well, let's suppose if Master Genmai is going with you. Wait here, please. The Master should be along with the mount shortly. Nice. You should lose cut, blah, blah, blah. Now I can start doing eighth occurrence.
The whistling breeze, mute. The pounding surf, frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At light's edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.
Bunch of shipwrecks around it too. Cool. We are arrived. This is Cracked Shell Beach on the eastern coast of Kalusia. You should be safe here for the present. Compared to the mainland, Sin Eater attacks are far less prevalent, and the native beasts are not any more dangerous than elsewhere. It is the people you should be wary of. By that city in the distance, that is Yulmore, the island's main settlement. It rivals the Crystarium in scale and was once an ally in our battle against the abominations. For years, the Yulmoran elite have fancied themselves the masters of what remains of a broken world. They have gone as far as to offer the leaders of other settlements their protection if we bend the knee. But to say their ideals are questionable would be putting it mildly. The Crystarium is one among many who resist their heavy-handed authority, and while we are not at war, our relationship with Yulmore is strained at best. It may be wise to conceal your ties with the Exarch during your stay here, especially in the vicinity of the city. Thank you for your wisdom. I'm glad we understand each other. Now the Exarch has instructed me to divulge a secret that should make finding your friend a good deal easier. Listen closely. I'm not going to get armor anymore. Or am I just going to slowly get them piece by piece? If you head south along the coast, you'll eventually become to a fisherman's shack. A friend of the Crystarium lives there, a man who goes by the name of Ivor. Ivor keeps an eye on everything that happens in Kalusia and will be able to point you in the right direction. Just hand him a sprig of thyme. That will let him know you can be trusted. Here, this should be enough. Find your friend. I will stay here with the Amaro until you're ready to return. The Fates. Leave me alone, hobgoblins. Oh, the battle music. Awesome. I'm gonna grab the crystal first. There are 3 of them here. Interesting. Where was it? Oh, dang. Never mind. Fisherman's hut surrounded by hobgoblins. Hello, Ivor. What you after? Fish? Crab? I think I've got an eel in a barrel somewhere, if you have a taste for him. Here, take some time. Oh, I do love a bit of time. Chucks them in the pan, and it's like a bloody festival of flavor. Now, what is it I can do for you? Can't say there's been any major upsets to report these past few weeks. Alphino. Alphino, eh? I know the one. Our young champion of the downtrodden. Yulmore's richer than all of Norvert put together, and it's a different story for them as live outside the city. Most spend every waking moment just trying to stay alive, which makes your friend's dedication helping others stand out all the more. I can hazard a guess as to where he is now, get a message to him, but you'll need somewhere quiet to meet, away from prying eyes. Make for Stilltide, that's a fishing village just up the path there. You're looking for a rundown excuse for a tavern the locals call the Leaky Keel. Wait there, and I'll see what that Alphino joins you. Oh, it's... Well, it's gonna go there anyway. It's fine. It's your first time in a tavern. It's customary to buy a drink if you mean to loiter. What will you be having? Ale. Fine choice. And what will you be paying with? Eel. Well, now, these are exotic. Where'd you come by coins like that? I'm sorry, dear. I don't doubt they have value, but I don't have a touchstone to test the purity, and I'm not about to go begging for one from neighbors, so we'll just have to come to some other arrangement. I have to go do something for me. Here's an idea. There's a common to the north where we grow our vegetables, but lately the pests have been eating more of them than we have. What do you say to a bit of extermination work? I want you to squash any vermin you find, and then visit the caretaker and give him an earful from me for sleeping on the job. He'll be in the old silo next to the fence, snoring like it's not. Do that for me, and you can laze about here as long as you like. Oh, and a rubber band already. Thank you. Blighted crop. Walk through your vineyards. You can't stop me. Hot here. It's barred. Huh. Even you knock louder. Perhaps they're hard of hearing, or they're just ignoring me. You're a faint squeaking from the room beyond. Time to burst in and save the day, brave adventurer. No one is home, and judging by the lack of furniture, they haven't been for some time. The nod scraps the vegetables on the floor, suggests rats have taken up residence in their absence. Oh. I don't get to kill the rats? I'm just gonna... This music's kind of creepy. I like it. Welcome back, dear. What did that good-for-nothing caretaker have to say for himself? Wasn't there, and he hasn't been there for a while. Gone. Must have left to join the rest of the hopefuls. In Gate Town, outside Yulmore? You don't have a clue what I'm talking about, do you? And there I was thinking you were another dreamer. Well, never mind all that. Take a seat wherever you like, dear. You've more than earned it. I'll even throw in another drink on the house. Another drink? You haven't given me a single one. You didn't like my money. Hey, that's a mana potion.
And how is business today, Mistress Theva?
Oh, frenetic. Look, I have a new customer.
Yeah, how'd you not see me sitting over there? I'm huge.
Tis good to see you, my friend. The barley seeds you wanted. They should produce a better harvest than the last.
What, just like that? Oh, Alfino, you really are a dear. Well, I'd best be tidying up some of those empty shacks before the pests move in. Keep an eye on the place while I'm out, eh?
It seems an age since last we spoke. Not since the prisoner exchange in Doma. And Yotsu. It has been even longer for me, of course, if you count the days I've spent here. The time has only added to the relief I feel seeing you safe and well.
I was more worried about you.
Huh. Alize said much the same thing. I don't think I've ever had such a scolding. But I believe an exchange of news is in order. Come, tell me of your arrival and all that came before.
Okay, I'm gonna nod at it and then explain. Explain.
I see. Both the Exarch and Alize told me that they knew of events, but I had stubbornly clung on to the hope that all-out war might yet be avoidable. And poor Tataru. She must be sick with worry. We must endeavor to return as soon as we may. It would be nice to bring her good tidings for a change.
Well, I sent her a note through a pixie.
But before we bid this world farewell, we must first ensure that it is not rejoined to the source. We must prevent the 8th Umbral calamity. Urianger's vision of the future has, I fear, every chance of coming true. By his description, the catalyst for the calamity was a formless and deadly weapon employed by the Garlean Empire.
A poison.
which can only mean one thing. Black Rose. Gaius was telling you the truth. When we were on the trail of the Ascians, we saw evidence that the gas was being manufactured once more. Gaius was adamant that the project had been scrapped. But so long as there are wars to be waged, there will always be those determined to win by any means. And thus simply destroying the existing stores of Black Rose would do little to alter fate's course. In that sense, our involuntary journey here to the First was something of a boon. Together with the Exarch, we've developed a theory as to how we believe the rejoining will be set in motion. I'm sure Urianger himself will cover the subject in more detail. But I can tell you the process requires that both worlds, the Source and the First, be facing an existential threat. One being Sin Eaters, of course. They are a menace that I would dearly love to remove, and not just to avert a calamity. I may be a stranger to this world, but I will not stand idly by and let innocent people be slaughtered. That is what brought me to the gates of Yulmore. Ignoring its pretensions as a kind of capital city to what remains of the world, it is nonetheless a center of power and authority. If any solutions are to be found, I believe our search should begin there. What say you, old friend? Hungry for another adventure?
Always. No, I'm gonna hang up my sword.
And so we take to the road once more.
Give me like 1,000,000 experience points per. I'm gonna level up pretty quickly now. Assuming you have no objections, let us make our way directly to the city outskirts. If we time our arrival just right, we may be lucky enough to see why I have yet to set foot in Yulmore, despite my best efforts to do so. Come, from here we must head west, and then across a small bridge. Hey, chameleons, giant chameleons. Oh, they call them iguanas. Calusian iguana. Calusia seems peaceful, does it not? Almost familiar? I had a similar impression of the Crystarium. Even in this distant world, people are much the same. To think that whenever calamity struck the source, a reflection such as this one, with all its culture and history, was being erased from existence. Oh no, get away from me! Oh, I have to help someone. Over there! Quickly, someone's in trouble. Oh, thank the fates. Look out! And of course, now we're back to taking forever to kill things. My poor heart. Thank you, young sir. Ah, there you are. In my haste, I lost my bearings, but I see you have the situation well in hand. Fine work. Are you all right, madam? Just a few bruises from where I fell, nothing compared to what was in store for me before this brave soul came to my rescue. I honestly thought I was done for. My feet are not as swift as they once were, and I knew there was no one left to hear me scream. Not that I let that stop me. I should probably leave my old house behind and queue up outside El Yulmore with the rest of them. Doubt those fancy lords and ladies would welcome an old crone like me. Still, even a shack near the gate has to be safer than staying here. Nope. One would hope. Either way, I suggest you avoid wandering alone, lest you make the Sin Eater's task any easier. Thank you again. You saved my life. Now, I'm sure a strapping lad like you has little to fear, but I wouldn't linger long in this place. There's not to be had here but cobwebs and memories. Because as the lady says, many in these parts have abandoned their homes to live in Yulmore's shadow. Should the Sin Eaters descend upon this region, there are precious few with the strength to fight them off. Speaking of which, what have you been told of these monsters? Brief history then. It was not long after the flood swallowed the better part of the world that the Sin Eaters first appeared, some beastly, some beauteous. Yet regardless of their form, all seem incapable of speech, and all are driven by the same insatiable appetite for mortal ether. They are predators, and we are their prey. Calusia suffers from far fewer attacks than most regions, but even so, the list of Sin Eaters' victims grows longer by the day. A tragedy without end. Still, we have won a small victory here this time at least. Now, shall we press on? Hopefully there's some aether currents along the way. My little hamster. Perfect. Excuse me. Yeah. This looks ridiculous.
That gate up ahead is known as the Open Arms. Yulmore itself lies beyond. This, meanwhile, is the aptly named Gate Town, the dwelling place of the many desperate souls who hope to be chosen to live in the city proper.
Why don't they?
I thought I recognized you. Brought a new friend, eh? I'll bet you got a trick or two up your sleeve. Maybe even 3. Care to show me?
He wants to fight? Yeah, what?
He's not here to compete. Leave him be.
Maybe that's what I need to do.
What? I was only making conversation.
Cockabretta music from Final Fantasy IV.
Greetings to our hopeful petitioners, one and all. Yulmore extends its warmest regards. Let it be known that a lady of distinction wishes to dine on fish divine. We seek a master culinarian who can guarantee seafood perfection. Dazzle the matron with your delicious dishes, and life in the city will be yours to enjoy, even on days when fish is not on the menu. Who among you will answer the call? Name yourself or another. We might not at all.
Sounds like Lisa's voice actor.
Recall how I said Yulmore was a center of power and authority? Well, that is not the only reason for its fame. It is also known as the City of Final Pleasures. The noble and the wealthy who survived the flood gathered here to live out the rest of their days in decadent abandon. A poor man could sooner pass through the Iron Needle than Yulmore's gates. The only way the common folk can enter this perverted paradise is if they fulfill the whim of one of the privileged. And so they are picked over like market produce.
What a catch! We'll not be throwing this one back. Having seen your all too obvious charms, we welcome you with open arms. Come, join us in the city of splendor and live out your life in an ecstasy of endeavor.
Congratulations.
Oh, just look at those expectant faces. What could you possibly be waiting for? Well, what have we here? An extra share of meal to celebrate our newest resident. For you. Enjoy.
Thank goodness.
Live off scraps.
Is a foodstuff which Yulmore routinely doles out to the people of Gatetown, and apparently a staple for its citizens as well. Many here rely on it to survive in these times of scarcity, yet the whole arrangement just seems...
It's a scam.
Well, let's just say it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Is it Soylent Green? Survey the scene. Now you understand why my attempts to enter the city have thus far come to naught. The dubious privileges of residency must be won via contest with ever-changing rules. They say this policy has been in place for the past 2 decades, ever since Yulmore's current ruler came into power. Yet from what I have seen, it does more harm than good. Not only does it distract people from our shared struggle against the Sea Eaters, it robs them of their self-sufficiency. I have tried to propose ways they can improve their lot, but my words invariably fall on deaf ears. The attitude is so entrenched now, I worry that, well, mayhap you should take a turn around Gatetown and judge the situation for yourself. Well, look at people. That's the first guy who talked to me. Still here, are you? Can't blame you for wanting a slice of Yulmore's pie. If you ask me, you should ditch that sour-faced brat and make a home for yourself here. Gatetown's not much to look at, but at least it's safe, and the meal is the best thing I've ever tasted. There's an aether current. A large pot bubbling bubbles with the flames. Pale chunks, meal you realize, float in the otherwise plain broth. There we go. I'm like, how do I get up here? Preoccupied petticoat. That's a person, not a petticoat. Just look at it. Can you imagine a more beautiful city? Every day I dream of the life that waits for me inside those walls. Oh, will they ever pick me? You've seen what Gaytown has to offer. These people can no longer fend for themselves. They become dependent on handouts of mail and believe Yulmore is the answer to all their woes. Yet no matter how I frame my encouragement, they seem unwilling, nay unable, to conceive of another way of life. Any other way of life. I just got a new thing, Enhanced Sheltron. Lasts for 6 seconds now. Yeah. You disapprove of Yulmore? It's difficult to make a final judgment without first seeing the city's inner workings. Mayhap it is that uncertainty which always makes me feel so ill at ease here. Not that it matters. However unjust this system seems to me, if these people claim to be content with their lot, it is hardly my place to criticize their choices. But take the elderly lady you rescued. Does it not seem that those who have chosen to forego Yulmore's largesse are doomed to suffer for their independence? In the end, they are all but forced to seek refuge in Gaytown, and so hamlets and fields across the land are left empty and untended, hastening the region's descent into ruin. Or back to nature. Nay, I am not convinced that Yulmore's generosity truly serves the best interests of Calusia's people. I am not so naive as to think there is some miraculous solution to all this, yet I cannot help but frown at the sight of hardworking villagers struggling to survive, even as the chosen few rejoice at being plucked from poverty by the hand of a capricious noble. There has to be a better way. I will not know for sure, however, until I have taken those long-delayed steps through Yulmore's gates. It's fortunate that you arrived when you did, Malchezair. I have been working on a scheme to insinuate myself into the city, and if all goes to plan, it should soon come to fruition. There is a beast tribe that makes its home in the seas surrounding the island. The Ondo they are called, though you and I know them as Sahagan. For the most part, they keep to themselves in their ocean grottos, and rarely have dealings with land dwellers. But as Taro took such great pains to impress upon me during our stay in Kugane, business favors the bold, and so I reached out to them. I duly discovered that the Ondo are inordinately fond of land-grown produce, fresh fruits in particular, and when I offered to procure some goods for them, they promised to pay me in pearls. An attractive business venture for any prospective investor, would you not agree? Surely even the most jaded Yulmoran lord would have time for a merchant who can make pearls from plums and pumpkins? Yes, I've come a long way since my days of buying samurai swords without first negotiating a price. My appointment with the Ondo is due to take place in a few hours. I just need to collect the produce and meet with them on the shore. Might you help me make the exchange? Sure, man. I'll be there for you. Excellent. I should be glad of your company. First things first, then. We must pay a visit to Moshe Moa, my supplier in Wright. Come, it is just northwest of here. Of course, there's always someone sneaking around. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Ugh. Giant beef frog or whatever it was. Germanintus is what it's called, but dang. Is there something I can do for you, friend? Good day to you, Moshimo. This is my associate, Malkazir. We are here to collect the produce I purchased. Eh? I loaded your lackey up with the goods not long ago. My lackey? I know no such person. Mr. Lad, short blue hair? No, he said he'd come on your behalf, and since he seemed to know all the details, I just assumed. And found it. Someone must have been eavesdropping on our conversation. If this charlatan was here not long ago, he cannot have gone far. We should split up and search the area. You find a vantage point in the south side of the town, and I shall take the west. It's Groot. I'm gonna look at this get the current first. We're surroundings for a male mistle with short blue hair. You have located your quarry. That was easy. Malkazir, any sign of him? Over there. You have a keen eye. Let us move in before he makes good his escape. I thought it was just going to teleport me. That would have been handy. Alright, rubber band already. I don't want to fight you. Thank you.
There you are. The thief who claims the harvest on my behalf. Hand it over.
Well, forgive me. I have to get into the city. I have no family and all my friends have already been chosen. No one here gives a damn about me. When the meal gets handed out, I'm lucky if I get a smell of it. No matter what I do, they won't call out my name. I'm so tired, I'm so bloody hungry. I thought maybe I could steal your idea. Get in that way.
What is your name?
Kai Shear.
Tell me then, Kai Shear, must it be Yulmore or nothing? What of the Christerium? They may not offer charity, but you would be fairly compensated for any work you did.
No, it has to be Yulmore. That's where all my friends are. We made a promise that we'd live together in paradise.
Their friends are dead. Maybe.
I was to make my deal with the Ondo at the Clave. Listen carefully, and I shall tell you my plans for the business, and how best to arouse the Yulmorans' interest.
He's giving it to him?
You'll give me your place? Just like that?
I'm giving you a chance, nothing more. What comes of it is entirely up to you.
I understand. Oh, thank you, thank you!
This was but one part. There will be others. But for young Kai Shear, it was the difference between life and death. I do not regret my decision, yet I will admit that a part of me wonders if it was for the best. We strive to bring swift salvation to this world, that countless lives might be saved, not least your own. Even if it came at the cost of one man, should I have forged on regardless?
That's not who you are.
I suppose not. Were Estinian here, he would most likely scoff at my soft-heartedness.
Same old elf, you know. Ever the slave to sentiment.
I like Alphanos.
Thank you for your kind words nonetheless. Let us see to it that both these stories have a happy ending.
I like his impression of Estinian.
Shall we return to right then?
Pretty funny. I guess. You're gonna take me there automatically? That would be handy.
Is that? can't be sure, but I think someone's in trouble. Come on, they may need our help.
Of course, I couldn't just have this in the next quest. It's quite far away. Unfortunately, I have to end the stream for now. Go ahead and, per usual, upload all these to YouTube for your viewing pleasure. And until next time, peace out, everybody.